Hi, this is Lee Ellis with another installment of Leading with Honor Coaching. Well, this is our third month and third installment, so to speak, of resilience and talking about resilience and some good lessons there that I've learned in the POW camp that have applied for the rest of my life, but they apply to everybody. You know, life is a battle, and that's what it was for us as we aircrew folks got shot down and captured during the Vietnam War. And we had to be resilient. And so most all of us came back home because we were resilient. And we're living longer than our peers because we were resilient and learned to be positive. And some of the things that we're going to talk about today have been so evident in our lives today that they've kept us really on track, and we've had wonderful lives. So first of all, you got to be committed. We had to be committed to our code of conduct, the 6 articles that said we'd be loyal to our country, and faithful to each other, stayed in community there, and that was so important for us to resist and survive and return with honor, and that was our motto. We had that big commitment from that. We also had character. Now, as military officers, mostly in NCOs, non-commissioned officers, we had character. We were committed to character. And so we had to suffer some and bounce back in our character. We were committed to the code of conduct, but sometimes we were tortured. We were ashamed. I cried like a baby when I had finally given in and I hadn't given them any information that they wanted, and it was all lies, but just the fact that I collaborated with them in filling out that 3-page biography was very painful and shameful to me. But everybody else had been tortured to do it, I found out later, and so that helped me bounce back. But we all have doubts and fears, shame and guilt, and overcoming that doubts and fears and shame and guilt is so important. Now, that courage was so important. That is the secret, really, to being a good person of character. The secret to being really committed. It helps you to stay committed. Courage, is so important. It's the most important thing, I think, really, of our character. We have to learn to lean into the pain of our doubts and fears to do what we know is right, even when it doesn't feel safe or natural. And that's exactly what it says on this courage card here. You can download this. It's a little business card, but that's written right on there. Lean into the pain of your doubts and fears to do what you know is right, even when it doesn't feel safe or natural. So coach yourself to do that. Now, it's also important to be involved in community because you've got to stay positive. And helping people stay positive, and when people help you stay positive, and they've gone through probably some worse things than you have. And that's what happened in our POW camps, And so staying positive in that community was very helpful. And community was so important. It is for you too. You got to be involved with someone. You can tell your story and they can share their story with you and they can encourage you and you can encourage them. And that's so important. Now you got to bounce back. That's so important for us. And in fact, it was in my 2012 book, Bounce Back, as a chapter. It's talked from the lessons from the POW camp, stories from there, and then the lesson of bouncing back. When you stay positive and you go through something serious where you've been resilient, you're going to bounce back. And that really is helpful. You got to be determined. You got to be in community. You got to have courage. You got to have commitment. You got to have character. But those all will help you bounce back and be resilient. Well, don't forget, download that chapter of Bounce Back about resilience in the Leading with Honor book, and we'll see you next month. Take care and God bless.